One case remaining today's docket 21-37916, the state of Texas versus Lynn LaSalle. You're Mr. LaSalle. Come on. All right, the defendant is present with his attorney, Mr. Burbank, and the state's attorney. Earlier in this case, the defendant entered a plea of guilty in this case. A pre-sentence report was prepared. Have the parties had an opportunity to review it? And are there any corrections or changes to it? State?
Nothing state.
And if
Nothing.
then it's made a part of the record for all purposes. The agreement in this case is that whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 5 years in prison. So I guess we're looking at no less than 2 nor more than 5 years in prison. I guess deferred or unadjudicated probation is an option. Regular probation, I guess, is an option. Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, we were here before. We took a recess in reference to some issues. You wanted us to take a look at it. In between that time,
This is some letter of
This is from his new employer, Judge, since the last court date. And he has been hired on as a department head, supervisor at Turbo, whatever, over in Houston. And that's to show that
turbine pump.
right on that. Also, Your Honor, I have been in touch with the complainant, and I know what the video shows. It shows that they got into something that he shouldn't have not done. He does have a past, I think, that had come up before in front of you in reference to other instances.
I see a criminal mischief.
Right. And then, well, there was also some family.
This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a repeat. The judge recognized the name, the record, and the excuses. And today, the courtroom was done listening.
Matters that were discussed before. He still has a young child. He's the primary caregiver over in Houston for she's a minor. And it does involve the child and the mother. I think he probably just took the wrong course of action with mom. But he has had continuous, though she says, and I'll be very frank with the judge, she says, well, he's not letting me see her, but he is living over in Houston. I believe she's over here in Beaumont, or in this area of Jefferson County area. But this all started over the care and condition of the child, and that he felt that she was not being taken care of properly.
Who?
The child was not being taken care of properly by mom. There again, I think he took the wrong steps. I think he admitted that he does have a history of kind of taking the wrong steps, and because it's right there in the PSI report that the state and you pointed out the last time we were here. I'd only asked for some consideration in reference that he needs to be corrected and punished. If he goes to TDC, there are more people than him that are going to be hurt, and specifically is the daughter or the child. He does have some other family members that, like today, are taking care of her, but he is the primary and has been taking care of the child. You do have the power of deferred and to review every couple of months or every 6 months or so, or weekends. You know, he is over in Houston, so you have to drive back here to Jefferson County. And then I think we did talk about shock probation, Judge. And it's my understanding, for the record, that because he has a prior state jail felony, but he would still be eligible for shock probation. Is that your understanding, Mike?
Yes, sir.
But I would just ask that you take it all in consideration. He did what he did, and there's no getting around that. So if you have any questions of Mr. LaSalle, then I'd be more than happy to answer them, Judge. But I'll represent to the court after the last court hearing. I called Mom at least once, maybe twice, and it wasn't what he did. It was, how am I going to get access to my daughter? That was the whole crux of it. And after advising her, and I will tell you that, well, maybe you should get an attorney or somebody to go on out and get a family court order, which they don't have. Maybe it would kind of correct some of this stuff. And I think it went through one ear and out the other. So
The elephant in the room here. A couple of elephants are in the room here.
I wasn't going to punch my ticket on that one, Judge.
This isn't the first assault on this lady. You pleaded guilty, I presume, but you were convicted, placed on regular probation in 2019 for, let's see, assaulting Jacqueline Frank. The same complainant here. Let's see, by scratching her face with your hands, and at the time there was a family member. And I'm looking here that the probable cause affidavit was again, let's see, it was communicating with the defendant, leaving work, advising him she was coming to get her daughter. LaSalle kept telling her he was bringing her, found LaSalle in the parking garage of the hospital. LaSalle appeared intoxicated, used his right arm to wrap around her neck and telling her to shut up. Then let her go. She attempted to grab her child. He began to claw at her face and eyes, kept swinging at her with his fists, but missed due to his intoxication. The complainant had a large bleeding scratch on her right lower arm and also multiple red marks and slight bruising on her face and neck. Her mouth was bleeding from a scratch on the inside, but wasn't aware where the blood was coming from. Okay, so a big deal was made about this. You come into court with a bunch of strangers who now enter into your personal lives because you aren't acting responsible and peaceful. Are you married to this lady?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well,
And if
sometimes
I may, for one thing, and when all this happens, which has happened several times, this is what was presented. This is from her, and here, that's a mistake. I don't understand why
because we all know what happens is, and it happens in this kind of relationship, and it never happens from the male's point. It's always the woman, but the woman's kind of stuck in a situation. I sympathize with them. I've been in a relationship for 40 plus years, and you have good times, bad times, great times, actually. But in difficult times, it's worked out responsibly. I don't go scratching and punching and threatening. And some of these people are put in an environment, they're victimized to where they really don't have, that they want a relationship that's peaceful. But you make this a living hell for this poor lady. So we made a big deal about it. You were put on probation. And here you are. Let's see. Didn't take very long. You were placed on probation for a year in 2019. So I guess you were released in 2020. So Let's jump ahead to June of 21, a year later. Opens her vehicle, grasps her by the throat with both hands, throws her keys on the ground, grasps her by the hair, drags her, causing her to scrape her arms and legs. Well, that almost seems familiar. Held her down in the parking lot by applying pressure to the back of her head, causing injury to her face. Hold on, though. Where's the child during this? Right there at the scene? I'm sorry. Let's see. Beating the truck and shouting at their daughter.
My daughter was.
No, I'm sorry. This says Lau came to her home on Harding Drive, began beating on her truck window and shouting at their daughter. He then followed her to the Conoco located at East Lucas Drive, reached in the window of her vehicle and grabbed her by the hair. No, I don't. When I'm through, Mr. Bully, you can speak. I tell you, guys who beat up women and girls, pick on girls, they tend not to pick on guys, but you push around girls. I don't like that. That's you interrupted me again. You're a bully. You like to have it dominating your way. But in here, we have the rules. You'll get a chance to speak, Mr. Bully. But you've struck my sensitivity. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me if I don't hold you accountable. Well, you don't bully people, especially people you claim you love, who are women. And I don't see in your criminal history picking on guys. Isn't that interesting? I see a possession of marijuana, possession of controlled substance, driving while intoxicated. That was above 0.15. You have no self-discipline. You don't have self-discipline at all. There's the assault, disorderly conduct, failure to appear, 4 public intoxications. And here we are. Criminal mischief. You were placed on 2 years deferred or unadjudicated. Pull that up, please. That felony. I'm kind of interested in what the facts are on that one. Did that have anything to do with this lady?
No,
The criminal
this was
mischief?
a different woman.
What? A different woman? But these letters, I get them all the time from women who are battered women from the relationship. And, you know, I don't know why they stay in the relationship, but they shouldn't be punished for that, for trying to make something work. There's no crime for trying to stay in a relationship because they would like it to work, especially as their common child between both of you. Yeah. In spite of you and your criminal actions, I'm not surprised that they're trying to salvage a family. You, on the other hand, are working vigorously to dissolve a family.
Mm-hmm. I just had the indictment.
Let me see it.
You want the PC? Here's the
Yeah.
I'm printing out the indictment, but I didn't. It's like,
Let's see. Destroy an automobile by jumping on and kicking said car, throwing an unknown object at said car without the consent of Carolyn Evans, the owner of the vehicle. Another woman is a complainant. Another girl. And it's a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. You just don't know the meaning of love, do you? No, you don't. It has nothing to do with violence. But this is the third female that you are in a relationship with that you've assaulted or was involved in assaulting your property. You observe the defendant exit his vehicle, go to the apartment. He was yelling, beating on the door, damaged the property that was on the porch. Then you were witness to go to the car, cause over $2,000 worth of damage. Then get in your black Chevy Camaro and not stand around and try to explain or fix the mess or wait for the police, but you fled. You fled. You don't handle your issues at all well. And this is the second assault of this same woman. A third involvement of some kind of assaultive behavior to another woman, a third time. But once again, that's somehow you just feel like you were the dominant species and you forgot that we're all in this together. And a woman, lady, has as much rights to live peaceably as you do, in spite of your rules of behavior. So you see, I don't like these facts. And it's not like I don't have experience in dealing with relationships with a woman. You work things out, but you don't damage their property. You don't scratch their face. You don't grab them by the throat with your both hands and by the hair and drag them. So, anything you want to say?
I apologize for everything that I've done, but
Now, how do you take it back? How do you fix it? You're supposed to fix it by, if you make a mistake, you learn from your lesson. You go, I touched the stove, and it burnt my hand.
I definitely.
But you keep grabbing at the stove. You know it has consequences. A bunch of strangers now, me, for example, are in your life, your personal life, because you are irresponsible in dealing with your personal life. And it's one thing if you want to just beat the heck out of yourself or scratch yourself, or that's bizarre, but not others. In front of children, they've got to see this. They've got to see the results of it. Don't tell me they don't. But this is the third time, sir.
That's the judging
And
and then I also pointed out
you were placed on probation, then pleaded true on this. This was that criminal mischief. Then you pleaded
also printed out the motion and it's
true to some violations that resulted in of probation. So you've been on probation twice, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, for this, number one, for this state jail felony on the criminal mischief, and it was revoked. And then you were sentenced to 16 months in the state jail. Then this assault, family violence. You were on probation for that. And it doesn't look like you were probation for 1 year. That doesn't look like it was revoked.
No, sir.
And then so here we are. You were on a possession of marijuana back in 2008. That was a misdemeanor. It was revoked. And then looks like there were two deferred probations, a possession of marijuana and a possession of an unknown controlled substance in misdemeanors. They were both revoked at probation. Your DWI, it looks like you served that out in 13. The family violence in 19, you served out. The criminal mischief You were on probation when that was revoked. I just. We just kind of run out of chances, don't we? When you're doing the same thing or similar. What state say?
Judge, due to the limited injuries on the victim, I put a cap of 5 years on this. Would recommend the 5 year. I don't think I need to argue anything more. You've kind of covered all the bases.
Okay. Or anything else? Any rebuttal to that?
No, Judge, I mean, there's no argument with what you said. There's no argument with what the state said. He does have a past.
Well, this is the present.
Well, in the present, and then you could kind of see with the complainant, I don't understand her.
Which, well, but we see this, they're made to feel like they're the bad person. I know how that works. It's a twist, but the grand jury didn't indict her. They indicted you.
But even with all this, Judge, she still didn't take any steps to get her child back. I mean, here's because there's some precedent that says if there's family violence, the family court has to take that in consideration in reference to designating the conservatorship of the child. And she's never done anything, but then she turns around and writes something like that. I don't understand it because we saw what happened between both of them. And then when I talked to her, it wasn't, he's no good. He needs to be locked up. It's, when do I get to see my daughter? I mean, I want to see her, or we have to come to some arrangements, or that's what I want is something that I can, and you do. You shake your head saying that's not correcting any problems. And
I've seen it. We've seen it over and over again.
Yeah.
It's victims have lost trust with the way the system works, especially in family instances. They don't know who to trust anymore. This is the second time he's assaulted her. She's going, what's the system doing to help me keep from being dragged around and my throat choked? I can appreciate reluctance of her to turn to who's supposed to help me here. Just terrible, Mr. LaSalle. You ought to be the poster child for breaking up families, not putting them together, sir. Really. I've never, it happens, but it's terrible. I mean, a family is one of the most wonderful gifts we can all have, but you don't take a precious gift and choke them. You don't scratch their face. That's just terrible. And this court stands for something different from that. Anything else? If not, I'm going to find you have pleaded guilty here voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 here, admitted in your plea hearing, to support the indictment, to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this third-degree felony. I'm following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years. And you will be given credit for all time that is credit worthy. You don't continue to commit assaultive behavior, especially on family members, and expect the punishment to get lighter. It steps up because you're not getting it. It's not getting through you. That if you have an anger management problem, it's not for a bunch of strangers to force you into that. You need to take your own responsibilities and independently go help yourself like everybody else does. We're all imperfect. We all make mistakes. It's how you deal with your mistakes and fix them until you bring up a lengthy criminal history. That's the difference between responsible behavior and irresponsible behavior. You have handled relationships irresponsibly, and a family. I hate families are very important. I do all I can to try to keep them in a unit, but this is like a concentration camp. The way you handled your responsibilities, you've got women. It's consistent. Women are the ones who are assaulted by you. That's no way a gentleman acts. You're not acting like a gentleman, sir. You're a bully. Bullies, when they step over the line, they will get punished. And I beg you to start acting responsibly and treating ladies with the respect that they deserve. When that happens, a wonderful team family unit blossoms. You are not helping the growth of a family unit. You're only working against it with violent behavior. You need to stop that. You will be held accountable.
Words couldn't erase the past. The sentence sent a message. In this court, accountability comes before sympathy.